Good morning, Big Ten fans. Welcome back to another edition of the Big Ten Morning Minutes. I'm your host, Michael Chen. It is January 21st, 2019, a big weekend for the Big Ten and some Big Ten action as well, as there's a lot going on here. We'll get started right away as the Big Ten will be well represented at the Senior Bowl. Here's a list of players that will participate in their schools. Penn State's got quarterback Trace McSorley, Wisconsin fullback Alec Ingold, Ohio State has wide receiver Terry McLaurin, Wisconsin has two guards Bo Beischweigel and Michael Dieter, Maryland has defensive end Brian Cowart, Iowa also has a defensive end in Anthony Nelson, Penn State's sending cornerback Armani Aruwaye. Maryland's got Darnell Savage, a safety, and Michigan State has safety as well in Kyrie Willis, and Indiana's sending kicker Dan Godsill. So Big Ten well represented there at the Senior Bowl. Minnesota was able to add a staff member from the Oregon staff as PJ Fleck went over there and said, hey, defensive analyst Rod Chance, why don't you come over and join us and not be an analyst and actually help coach the defensive backs. So Rod Chance will be on the sidelines with PJ Fleck this coming season, helping out the DBs for the Gophers. Nebraska got a commitment over the weekend as well from the Polynesian Bowl as cornerback Noah Pola Gates announced his decision to go to Lincoln and join Scott Frost. He is the 156th overall player in the nation, so a nice grab there for Frost and the Huskers. Ohio State's losing potentially another player as linebacker Keandre Jones has entered the transfer portal. We'll keep you updated on where he ends up. Penn State saw some players go, saw some players leave, as well as James Franklin added two recruits this past weekend as defensive end Smith Vilbert committed to the Nittany Lions, along with defensive tackle Devon Ellis. Vilbert is the 684th overall player. He's extremely raw. He'll come in. Most likely you'll see a red shirt out of Vilbert, but we've seen stranger things happen as well. But the big coup is Ellis, as he's the 293rd overall player in the nation, and he looks like he'll come in and most likely contribute right away for the Nittany Lions. The unfortunate news on that side, however, is linebacker Jarvis Miller will graduate transfer to UMass and actually end up playing against his former team, as UMass and the Nittany Lions will face off next year on the gridiron. Rutgers got a transfer as well, as former UCLA tight end Matt Almino will end up joining Chris Ash, and looks like he most likely will be immediately eligible, so you'll probably see him on the field this coming season. Purdue's wide receiver commitment Milton Wright had a very good showing at the Polynesian Bowl. He's the player that stood out the most from the Big Ten in that contest. And the Wall Street Journal came out with its top 15 most valuable football programs, and the conference was well represented in this one, as multiple teams made it. 15 at ranking at number 15, Nebraska is valued at $471.6 million. Wisconsin right in front of them at 14 at $474,000, and then Penn State also in front of them at 13, $518.8 million. And then you got to go all the way up into the top 5 to find the next few Big Ten teams, as Michigan's going to come in ranked number 4. They're valued at a whopping $924.6 million. And then you're looking at the top 2, as Ohio State is going to be valued at $1.05 billion. That's right, $1 billion. So that's going to top the conference. And then overall, nationally, Texas is $1.1 billion. So Ohio State lost out. They were ranked number 1 last year, so they dropped back down to number 2 after what Wall Street Journal had named as a little bit of obviously some issues off the field with Zach Smith and Urban Meyer as well. So that's why they went down a little bit, losing out to Tom Herman and his Texas club, but still a pretty strong showing as the Big Ten placed 5 teams in the top 15. So good showing for the conference on that. A little basketball news as well as, unfortunately, Michigan State lost out on the elite big man Isaiah Stewart. He ends up committing to Washington and the Huskies, so he's going to go out west. And that's going to do it for you, for your information from this past weekend on the Big Ten. So that's been this episode of the Big Ten Morning Minutes. I've been your host, Michael Chen. You can give me a follow on Twitter at MFC2123. We could talk about Big Ten football, whatever you want. Have a great day, Big Ten fans.